Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the On the Diamond and Into the Deep podcast. As always, I am your host, Mahal, and today we are back with episode 60 of the pod. Today is Wednesday, April 30th. We are recording here during the first inning of today's ballgame. Emerson Hancock on the mound for the Mariners against Tyler Anderson and the Los Angeles Angels. And today we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about last night's ballgame. Mariners won. They took a little bit of a dub there, winning 5-3, I believe. And we will also discuss Bryce Miller, Jorge Polanco, both of whom had solid games last night. Polanco had a fantastic game. Bryce had a decent game, better than what he's been doing, especially with circumstances last night. And then we'll also talk, unfortunately, about Luke Raley, who has gone down with a grade 1 oblique strain and will be out for more than 10 days as he's on the 10-day IL, but he will be definitely out for more than that. Emerson Hancock just struck out. Who's that? Kieran Paris? Ugly little swing. But without further ado, let's get into it. To begin, I want to talk about being at the ball game last night. Last time I went to a ball game was the Saturday of opening week, and it was a very different vibe being there last night. Just the intensity with which the team played with, sort of the energy the team played with, and then the way that fed into the crowd. I think for me, one thing that has frustrated me watching the Mariners over the past year-ish at T-Mobile Park has been a lot of fans sort of not being entertained, and I can't really blame them, sort of being disengaged from the ball game. Little single there for Logan O'Hoppe will drive in a run. Angels take 1-0 lead. But one thing that's frustrated me has sort of been a disengagement with a lot of the fans in the ballpark and in the stands. And for me, I understand why, because it's the type of thing where this team's not a whole lot of fun to watch, or they haven't been. It's been a lot of strikeout, a lot of pop out, a lot of just like clean baseball defensively, but offensively it's not been a whole lot of fun to watch. And there were parts of last night's ball game like that, but there were also a lot of things that made last night's game a whole lot of fun to watch. Mariners were turning double plays, they were making good plays in the field, they were making the routine plays, but also making some that were a little bit less routine. I remember specifically, I can't remember the inning, but Ben Williamson got a ball scorched to his left, and he picks that ball, fires it over the first, get third out there. And it's the type of thing where, like, last year, I think a crowd isn't super engaged and isn't noticing that, and they're not really taking note of something like that happening because of how just frustrating it is to watch that offense. It makes you disengage from the ballgame, even when the Mariners are defending and when they're pitching. But I think everyone sort of in the ballpark, there was sort of a vibe when that happened that was sort of like, yeah, that's what this team does. Nice little catch there, Ben Williamson in foul territory. Emerson limits the damage. So 1-0 going to bottom one. But like I was saying, it's the type of thing where it's just those little knick-knack plays during a ball game where if you can feel the energy in the crowd, it's a little bit different. And I think the team likes to feed off of that too. So it's important to have that. And obviously, one thing that I always like to mention is the wave. I think a wave is definitely a sign of fans being a little bit bored, a little bit disengaged from the game. And last night, the wave didn't actually get started at all. Someone tried to start it in the 8th inning, I believe. I believe it was like bottom 8, top 8. And a fan down the first base line was trying to get into it, and it just didn't get started. People were engaged with the ball game. They wanted to see the Mariners win. Mariners were winning up at that point. They were doing successful things. They had the bullpen in. They gave up a few base runners, so it was sort of a crunch time important inning. You had Trout up to the plate with a runner on, and to see fans engaged, wanting to watch that, not wanting to do sort of a distracting thing, for me personally, was definitely entertaining and important. And that's something that I personally really like to see. So it was a really good vibe at the ballpark. I think it was a lot of fun. Now, just based back at the actual game, why did that happen? The Mariners did some stuff. They didn't let the starter settle in for the first 3 innings. They did unfortunately let him do that after, but the Mariners had base runners, I believe, all the first, second, and third inning, specifically the first and the third inning. They had a lot of base runners. They didn't cash in the first inning. I specifically think back to the Rowdy Tellez at bat. He gets a sinker off the plate first pitch, and he pops it into foul territory down the third baseline. And that's an at-bat that specifically cannot happen. This is a guy that's struggling to throw strikes. He's been throwing a lot of sinkers away from left-handed hitters. All the left-handed hitters he had seen, he had gone with sinkers away. And Tellez chases at it, and he makes contact with it, and he just pops it up into foul territory. You have bases loaded, 1 out. That's something that can't happen in that situation. And for me, that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, is this the same offense that I've been watching at every ball game recently? And over the past couple of years. But no, they didn't score that inning, and I had that feeling. And then third inning, Jorge Polanco steps up to the plate, runners on the corners, and he crushes a ball out to right. He had a huge night, should have had 3 homers, and part of that is what brought the energy to the ballpark. But to see them cash in was huge. Now, unfortunately, after that, the Mariners had 2 base runners the rest of the game, the rest of the 3 innings against that starter. They had 1 walk and 1 hit in separate innings. So they didn't have any runners in scoring position the rest of the ball game against the starter. They let him settle in, let him get through 6 innings when he was a little bit on the ropes after 3. They had 6 hits plus walks included. I believe it was 3 of each. They had 6 base runners, including the homer, up to that point that were making him throw high stress pitches. They were making him stress. They were making him work. And they sort of got away from that approach. And I think that's a sign that things aren't always going to be good. But the fact that the team was able to pull through that, they were able to find success after that, is really important. It's unfortunate. Julio takes a good pitch, actually, but it's a ball. Or he takes a ball that's called a strike. Good take from Julio there, first pitch. But that's the thing for me where it's like, get through, beat it out. But it's like, you can't let the starter settle in, and that's an important thing to do when you have a starter on the ropes, when you have a chance to sort of take a team out of the game. You took the wind out of any sort of sails if they had any with that homer in the third, but after that, you let them sort of bounce back in, sort of get back into the game. They scored a run, I believe, I know they scored, it might have both been in the 8th, actually, but, it's the type of thing where it's like, yes, you have won the game. Yes, you're up big. Yes, you feel like you're in control. But that doesn't mean you can stray away from your approach. That doesn't mean you can do things that you're not normally going to do if it's a close game. You got to stay with that. You got to keep the starter working. You got to get into the bullpen, especially in a game where it's only a 2-game series. The team just had an off day. Can you work that bullpen? Can you make it difficult for them in game 2 and make it easier for yourselves in game 2? Those are the questions you have to ask, and that's why it's important to continue working, continue your approach, continue forcing that starter and making him work. And they strayed away from that, and that was a frustration. I didn't realize it personally at the time, but looking back at the game, it was something that I thought about, and I was like, oh, that did happen. But moving on to Bryce Miller. Bryce Miller had a solid start. After the game, he had a quote that he had back tightness. He's back tightened up before the game, and he wasn't able to even sit between innings, but he still got it through 6. Cal Raleigh with a drive. Deep. Caught by the corner, left field line. But he still settled in. Went 5 innings, 5 scoreless innings, 2 hits, 6 Ks. He only had 3 balls that were hit 95 plus off of him. The problem was the control. And that's been a problem throughout the year. He had 5 walks last night. He had 4, I believe, the game before that. That's been the problem all year. If you want to just go through walk numbers, 5 last night, 4 against Boston the start before that, 2 against Cincinnati, 3 against Texas, 3 against the Giants, 2 against Oakland. So total, he has had 17 walks now, 12 before last night. And when you're a guy that's going to rely on less base runners to get your innings in, because you're a guy that wants to get strikeouts, that wants to get whiff, that means it's important for you to limit the walks so that you're not throwing extra pitches. And last night he struggled to do that, and he struggled to do that all year, and it's caused him problems. It's made it difficult for him to get deep into games. The latest he's gone is 5 2/3 innings, and those were in his first 2 starts. Other than that, he hasn't gone deeper than 5 1/3, and that was the start right after that. His last 4 starts now has been 5 innings, 4 2/3, 5 innings. And that's never a problem, especially if you're not giving up a whole lot of runs. But when a Mariners bullpen is already sort of dwindling because you've had some injuries and you need the guys that you expect to be your guys with Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, even Luis Castillo to an extent right now, you need those guys while Kirby and Gilbert are out to eat some innings, because you're not going to have Emerson Hancock eating a whole lot of innings. You're not going to have Logan Evans eating a whole lot of innings. Those are guys that can get blown up, and all of a sudden your pen is in really bad shape after that happens. So it's important for him to throw a lot of innings. That said, I will take 5 scoreless when your back tightens up and you're gutting through something. I'll take that every day of the week. But there is stuff to improve on. And I was already going to dig into sort of why his season has been a little bit worse than what we expected, a little bit more frustrating for him, for everyone involved than we expected. And I digged into sort of the walks and the command thing. I didn't dig into necessarily why, but if you want to look at the reasons why he's struggling, I have 3 numbers specifically to show you. First, let's talk about walk rate. We'll then talk about out of zone and out of zone swing rate. We'll put those together. We're also going to talk about first pitch strike rate, and just the contact rate when they are chasing those pitches. So a lot of those things do go in tandem. So it's not necessarily 3 specific things, but it is one big idea. It's walks and command. That is the big idea that he's been struggling with doing. Starting with walks. Bryce Miller's in the 18th percentile in walks. What that means is that he is below average, significantly below average, compared to other starters in baseball right now in limiting walks. He has a 12.8% walk rate, which again, that's the 18th percentile, so that's not very good. If you want to look at the past 2 years, this is where it sort of jumps off the paper for me. 2024, he was in the 75th percentile. Good pitch by Hancock there. 75th percentile, 6.4%. He has doubled his walk rate this year from last year. And then if you want to go back another year to his rookie season, 95th percentile, 4.8%. So when you're looking at these numbers, and obviously they're just numbers, but you can see it when you're watching the game, you can feel it when you're at the ballpark, and you can sort of feel that confidence, that swagger that Bryce often plays with, sort of, the cowboy hat, cowboy boots. He's got the mustache, the confidence that he plays with, the confidence he holds himself with. You can sort of feel that slipping as soon as he starts throwing a couple balls in a row. And you saw it in multiple innings last night. You saw him throw a 4-pitch walk to Jorge Soler, then walk the following hitter. You saw him walk Soler another time later in the game. I believe he even followed that one up with another walk. So he's putting base runners on that he doesn't need to put on. He's limiting contact to a very similar extent that he has the past couple of years. The only numbers that have changed are the walk rate and everything that goes in tandem with that. So if he can limit that, he can find his command, specifically his fastball command, then he's going to find success. And that's what I noticed. I rewatched last night's game after going. I watched it this morning again, all of Bryce's pitches. I watched every one of his pitches, every one of his at-bats. I rewatched it all, and I wanted to see, where was he struggling with command? Why was he getting these walks? Is it just a straight confidence thing, or is it specific pitches that are sort of triggering that? And it seems like it's a little bit of both. But one thing I specifically noticed was he's not hitting his spots with his fastball the way he needs to. His fastball is his best pitch, and the fastball plays up at the top of the zone due to the rise on the fastball. The fastball has a whole lot of ride, which means it feels as though it's rising towards the bat, which is why he gets a lot of pop-ups. He also has a sinker that does the opposite, which is going to force ground balls. Neither one could he throw with a whole lot of confidence in the location. And the fastball, he couldn't get to the top rail. There was one instance where he did it. He did it one time. First out in the 3rd inning, if you want to go watch it. Kieran Paris. 0-2 fastball. He gets a couple foul balls. He then goes to the fastball at the 0-2 pitch. 96 miles an hour. Top rail. It's blown by Paris. That was one of those triggers where I'm like, bang. That is the guy that Bryce Miller can be. And when he's doing that, that's when he's at his best. So for me, his next couple starts, I'm going to be watching, where is his fastball sinker command? Can he get that fastball to the top rail? Because if he can get that fastball to the top rail and play the splitter off of it like he was using the splitter for the most part last night, I mean, even the slider and the sweeper a little bit to an extent like he did last night. But if he can get that fastball to the top rail, Bryce is going to see a lot of success. You're going to see the numbers jump up. You're going to see the walk numbers dip significantly. You're going to see the innings go up a whole lot, and you're going to see a whole lot of better starts from him. And I think that's something that Mariners fans want to see. That's something that Bryce Miller wants to see. That's something that Pete Woodworth wants to see. Now the question is, why is that happening? And it's tough to know, especially someone that's not around the team like myself. It's hard to know. It'd be something where you'd have to look into mechanics, I think, as well as just some random knick-knack things. But I think at this point, it is a little bit of a mental thing, because he hasn't had a problem with that in the past couple of years in the big leagues. Obviously, coming up, I do think that he did have a few issues with that. But if he can get that, again, the thing that you need to remember here, can he get the fastball to the top rail? If he can do that, he's going to see success. Continuing on with the little stats with commands and walks, out of zone percentage is up about 3%. 2023, 46%. 2024, 48.9%. This year, it's up above 50%, 51.2%. So it's up about, what's that? 2.5%, which maybe isn't a whole lot, but it's a significant enough jump where it's causing him some issues, and you can see why. The other problem with that is the chase rate. Out of zone swing percentage, chase rate, whatever you want to call it, has also dipped significantly. And whether that's because of the fastball or if it's because of another pitch, whether that's the splitter, the slider, whatever it is, he's not getting chased. And it's causing his strikeout numbers then to dip as well. And when you're not getting chased, you're also going to have your walk numbers jump, because that means anything out of the zone is being taken. In terms of the number specifically, 2023 was his best season with it. That's his rookie year, 28.6%. 2024 last year, 27%. This year it's dipped below 25%. He's at 24.5%, about 24.6 if you want the precise number. So it's dropping. And that's a reason why his April hasn't been as good as he would have liked, as Mariners fans would have liked, as the Mariners would have liked themselves. But the good thing is you can see the clear problem. The other thing, first pitch strike, again, all these things go in tandem. First pitch strike, 57.8% this year. That's down about 5% from last year, and about, 8% from the year before that. So again, all these things go hand in hand between walk rate, out of zone rate, chase rate, first pitch strike rate, and even contact when chasing rate. All these things go hand in hand, and it's because he's not able to elevate that fastball to me, because hitters are easily reacting to fastballs down. They're able to hit it, and when they're able then to react to the off speed better when that fastball is being down more, because the only spot that Miller could find his fastball last night was down. He was finding that fastball down. He was finding it middle away, middle in, but he could not find it much at all top of the zone, even when Cal was set up there. Good thing was he didn't miss at the middle of the plate very much, but he was still missing, and that's a problem. The other thing last night, if you want a number sort of adding on to that, the fastball out of the zone is not getting whiffed on at all. Now, I haven't dug into the numbers in terms of what he did last year with that, but if you want to go watch back some games, and even just thinking back to games last year, you remember where fastballs were sort of, he's climbing the ladder against hitters. He's putting fastballs above the top rail, and they're even whiffing at those. That happened a whole lot last year, and it's not happening this year. It didn't happen at all last night. 0 four-seam fastballs were whiffed on outside the zone. He also had a 33% whiff rate last night, 10 whiffs on 30 swings total, which is also just not going to cut it. His whiff rate this year is 24.1%, which is the 39th percentile. Now, 33% is better than that, of course, but it's still not what you're going to want to see from Bryce Miller, and it's not the greatest number in the world. I think that would be just slightly above league average. That said, Bryce still gutted through 5 scoreless innings. He didn't feel right. He had the back sort of tightened up on him. But I am worried about health with him. And this is something I haven't mentioned on the podcast, but if you've talked to me, I have mentioned this, because he's struggling to throw innings. He mentioned some arm soreness after his first start. He now has had the back thing last night. His body seems fatigued, and it seems like he needs a little bit of just some days off here and there. He needs a couple extra days. He needs to just have a short IL stint. But with your pitching depth and with the guys already down, it's just, you can't do it. And that's frustrating. It sucks, but that's just the reality of things. And I'd be worried about whether he's going to do something worse. Randy goes big bomb. Oy, off the facade of the upper deck. Good God. No doubt. Randy, good God. After a bad night last night, Randy goes big bomb in his first at bat today. 106.9 miles an hour, 400 feet off the facade next to Edgar's. But back to Bryce Miller. Again, Bryce Miller just needs to find the top rail with his fastball. If he can do that consistently, he's going to find some success. Too many walks lately. His command hasn't been there, and it's causing him problems. That's really as simple as it's going to be. If you want another reason why that's happening or why he's not getting innings with that, if you want to just talk about the 5 walks last night, that's 20 pitches just in the balls in those at bats. And I believe only one of those was a 4-pitch at bat or 4-pitch walk. So that's even more. But you take out those 20 pitches, that's only 63 pitches through 5, and you're well on your way to 6 innings, 7 innings, even maybe 8 innings. So you can see where the problem is, why he's not getting deeper into games, why he's having problems. And it's causing him higher stress pitches too, because he's putting runners on base, and that's something you can't do in baseball, especially at that professional level. It will bounce back at you. Someone will get you because of it. It'll cause problems, and it hasn't really happened a whole lot yet. But at some point, someone will make him pay for walking so many hitters. And I'm hoping it's not anytime soon, and I'm hoping he can fix it before that happens. Moving on. Jorge Polanco, man. This guy is on another level this year. Absolutely insane. We'll start with just his night last night, in which he should have had 3 homers. First at bat, he has a nice walk, 5-pitch walk. Second at bat, 7-pitch at bat, gets 3-2, gets full count, runners on the corners. He gets a sinker on the outside rail, outside edge of the plate. He pulls it 395 feet, 108.9 miles an hour, 920 expected batting average out in all 30 parks to right field, and he goes yard. 3-run bomb gives the Mariners the lead, and you truly love to see that. I mean, this guy has been on another level. His at-bat after that third at-bat, he sends another pitch out to right. This one's out towards right center. This one's 388 feet, 106 off the bat, 920 again expected batting average out in 18 ballparks, not T-Mobile Park. He sends it to the not necessarily the deepest part of the park, but he sends it to right center, 380 apparently to the corner. That's what the dimensions of the park say. So guessing that the wind sort of blew that down a little bit. It was a ceiling scratcher. And it was just barely caught at the wall. He almost had a second of the game there. I said in the 7th, he would have his second. This one was a no-doubter. And from my seats in right field, third row right field, that was gone as soon as he hit it. As soon as he hit it, I was up. And I'm not the type of person that gets up really quickly because I don't want to be the one that stands up, gets all hyped, and then it's not out. But I was up right away because that thing was crushed. 108 miles an hour, 970 exit velo, 423 into the J-Rod squad, out in 30 of 30 ballparks. That, pardon my French, shit was crushed. Absolutely demolished. And also on Polanco last night, guy saw pitches. He saw 17 pitches over his 4 ABs. He did damage with the pitches where he didn't see a whole lot of pitches. 7-pitch AB for a homer. First pitch, absolutely crushed it. Barely didn't get out. And then a 2-pitch at bat on the second homer. The guy was killing the baseball. And it just continues. I mean, if you want to look at his season as a whole, the guy has been out of this world. Donovan Solano, left center. Garver will stop third. Runners on the corners. No outs. 1 run already in. Mariners are rolling again here. Tyler Anderson, 22 pitches here with no outs in the second. Hung little, is that like a slider, changeup? Slider probably. But back to Jorge Polanco. I mean, This guy has been one of the best hitters in baseball, if not the best hitter in baseball. The only reason why he's not necessarily why he's not on the top of the leaderboards is because he's not even qualified yet, because he's been dealing with an oblique strain the entire season, hasn't hit against lefties or from the right-handed batter's box since like the first weekend, I think, or something like that. But stats-wise, let's talk. 100th percentile xWOBA, x batting average, x slug. Best in the league. 99th in launch angle sweet spot, 95th barrel hard hit squared up percentage, 93rd strikeout percentage, 86th in average exit velocity. Guys, barreling the ball up, hitting it hard, and I mean, it's causing success. The dude's launch angle is elite. He's hitting the ball with the barrel and he's hitting it up. He's hitting line drives. The guy's line drive percentage is up 6.8% from last year. Pulling the ball in the air 2% more than last year. He's just pulling the ball a whole lot more than last year. It's incredible what he's doing, even while hurt. I don't even know where to start. You want to just talk about his stats this year? Let's talk. 258 WRC plus, best in the league. You want to compare that to the best hitter in the league right now, Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge in 2025 has a WRC plus of 251. He's played 30 games, 136 plate appearances. They have the same amount of homers. They both have 9 homers. Jorge Polanco has about half of the plate appearances as Judge. Polanco has 79 plate appearances right now. Played in 21 games. Judge, again, 136 in 30 games. Both have 9 homers. Both have a WRC plus in the 250s. Polanco's is slightly over. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible what he's doing. And you just dig into the numbers and it gets you excited because he's doing things that are like gonna not just disappear, it feels like. One of the biggest things is that he's crushing pitches that are mistakes. And you can notice that when you watch his at-bats. Even the ones last night. The flyout he had was right over the middle of the plate, and he crushed it. If you want to look at Baseball Savant, pitches over the, quote, heart of the plate, which is the dead middle, Polanco has a run value of 12 already. Now, that can dip, that can go higher, whatever. The last time he had anything near that was 2019. He had 13 that year. You want to talk about the past couple years? In 2024, -6. 2023, -7. 2022, -11. Guy was in the negatives all of the past 3 years. This year, he has found the fountain of youth. He has a 12 run value against pitches, against meatballs, basically. He has a 12 run value against meatballs. He found the fountain of youth. He's out of the negative into the major positive. And you want to talk about what he did the last time he did that, 2019, 120 WRC plus, 295, 356, 485, 22 homers, worth 3.5 wins. You add that, and you have that all year round for the Mariners, and this guy is going to help you carry you into the playoffs. If you can get Julio right and you have him and Polanco in this lineup, this team's going to do damage. Leo Rivas with a base hit, a little RBI. 2-1 Mariners, runners on first and second for probably top of the order here. Another guy that's just been rolling. Bottom of the order, producing. Polanco, producing. Just continuing to dig into the numbers. Pop-up, fly ball percentage, down 2% both. He's pulling the ball more than he did last year, but the biggest thing is he's not hitting it to the opposite field. When he's hitting the ball, he's pulling it or he's hitting it up the middle, and he's hitting it hard. His barrel percentage, up from 8.9 to 20%. When you are barreling the ball up, you're going to hit line drives, you're going to hit homers, you're going to hit for power, you're going to drive in runs. It's a big deal. Samad Taylor here now at the plate. He's hitting every pitch, whether it's a fastball, a slider, a sinker, a changeup, whatever it is, he's hitting every pitch. Of the top 5 pitches he's seen, everything is in the positive and by a couple in terms of run value. There's one pitch where he's been in the negative. I believe it's a sweeper, and he hasn't seen very many of them. The guy has been unbelievable. Yeah, sweeper, -1. In terms of the top 5 pitches, let's just run through them. 2 run value against fastballs, 3 against changeup, 2 against slider, 4 against sinker, 3 against cutters, and then 1, -1 or 0 for the other 4 pitches other 5 pitches he's seen. No, 4 pitches he's seen. Slurve 0, split 1, -1 for a sweeper, obviously, like I said, and curveball 1. The guy is crushing every type of pitch. He's crushing everything over the middle of the plate. He's barreling the ball up. He's hitting it hard. His exit velocities are good. He's not striking out at all. That is a huge, massive, 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 massive difference. And it's bringing him a lot more success. He's tweaked a couple things with his swing. He's more into his legs. He's a little bit more into a squat type of position, and the guy's finding success with it. And he's finding success with at T-Mobile Park, 286 WRC plus. He's slugging 894. He's also whiffing a whole lot less than last year. If you want to talk about with runners on, the guy's also incredibly successful. 382 WRC plus with runners on, 343 with runners in scoring position. Huge success from Jorge Polanco, and it is, as it looks right now, it's just going to continue. And it's a whole lot of fun to watch, and I'm just happy to be here along the ride. He's looking like, if not for Aaron Judge, he would win AL Player of the Month very easily. He could go back-to-back Players of the Week if he continues the week like he did last night. But I think that's enough on Jorge Polanco, Bryce Miller. Let's get into Luke Raley, who goes down with a oblique strain. As soon as I saw the video last night, I was rewatching the game. They put it on Root Sports. As soon as you saw the video, grabbed his side immediately. You could tell that was an oblique. You didn't know how bad it was, but it's a grade 1 oblique strain according to Justin Hollander. Hollander also said it's edging grade 1 plus. And it sounds like he's out 6 weeks minimum. There were conflicting reports whether it was 6 weeks to a potential rehab or 6 weeks. Whatever, but it's gonna be 6 weeks at least, which is about a month and a half, 2 months, and that sucks. It does suck because he hasn't been the same guy he was last year at the plate. He's still been 9% above league average with a 109 WRC plus. He's hitting 206, 345, 313, 2 homers, and he's walking at 12% of the time. And his underlying numbers have been really good, so it feels like he was close to breaking out and finding success. In terms of expected numbers, let's run through them. Expected batting average 260, expected slug 432, expected weighted on base average 373. That's the 82nd percentile there. Expected on base percentage, he's in the 92nd percentile. The problem has been the whiff. He's whiffing 38% of the time, but it feels like he was on the fringe of breaking out. He's also your best and really only left-handed hitting outfielder. Same thing with first base. And it sucks to not have that guy in your lineup. J.P. Crawford draws a walk there on a very tight pitch, so you'll get bases loaded, 2 outs here for Julio Rodriguez. Anderson's now at 40 pitches here in the second. But it's a tough loss, and apparently the Mariners are searching for guys to sort of fill that already. But it's going to be interesting to see who that could be. Is it Jared Kelenic? ... I would be interested. It's not going to play every day, but that's a left-handed hitting outfielder that at least is going to play solid defense. So again, you're going to see Mariners probably make a move sometime soonish, or try to make a move at least, in lieu of Raley, and whether that's at first base or outfield, I'm not sure. It could be either one. I could also see them trying to maybe go lure Nathaniel Lowe away from the Nationals. Now that's going to take a little bit more of a package, but that's someone that a lot of Mariners fans have talked about, and would make a ton of sense to go fill first base. Then you don't have Rowdy Tellez. Donovan Solano will be sort of in with DH at bats a little bit more at first base. But you need someone, because you're running through your depth really quickly, and that doesn't even have to be a big guy. That can be someone like a Jared Kelenic, like I said, where he's going to sort of just be depth guy. Or is it someone like an Andrew Benintendi, who's having an okay year, and can go play in the outfield? The only problem there is his contract. Or is it a Brian Reynolds, who's having not a great year, but again, can fill a need? Julio, first pitch, breaks his bat to second, little bloop. Again, it does suck about Raley. He's out 6 weeks. Last year, he was a huge part of the team. He's obviously going to be a huge part of the team down the run. Hopefully he can get back, find some success like he did last year. But we're a month and a half at least away from seeing that. And an oblique is a really tough injury, so you could see that being more than 6 weeks very easily, I think. But that's all from me today. Thank you guys so much for listening to episode 60 of On the Diamond and Into the Deep. I will be back tomorrow. We'll be talking about today's ball game, which will wrap up in a couple hours. By the time this releases, it'll probably be over, if not pretty close to over. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about some starting pitching. We'll talk about, I think, JP Crawford a little bit, maybe even the bottom of the order. We'll be talking successful things. We'll be positive vibes tomorrow. Before Friday might be a little bit more bad vibes, but we're going to try to stay positive because there's a lot of positives with this team, and this team's a lot of fun to watch right now. And I think I realized that last night because even watching on TV, they're frustrating sometimes, but to see the way that they're playing lately has been a lot of fun. And it's a joy to watch baseball when your team is doing positive things and when they're doing things that are making it fun to watch the game. Because at the end of the day, y'all, it is just a game. And when the team's having fun and you're having fun, that's when the game is at its best. Hopefully they continue to win ball games. Hopefully they can get a little series sweep here against the Angels, little 2-game series sweep. They can head into the weekend. I believe they face Texas this weekend with a pretty big divisional series. They can get another series win there. And they could, if they win today, you're looking at 7 straight series wins. But we'll talk about that when it hopefully happens. Thank you guys again so much for listening. It's been episode 60 of On the Diamond and Into the Deep. As always, go Mariners and peace.